Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have V. Jesse Smith joining us here today, live on the podcast, live on the Zoomcast. He's the CEO of Heights of Greatness Leadership Institute. That's hgli.org. And he joins us again today to talk more about the business where he's helping so many, especially for leaders, businesses, nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and individuals to really help with their leadership skills and bring them to that next level of amazing greatness. How are you?
I am well. How are you doing today, Jill?
Fantastic. I'm not sure though. You're in Palmdale, California, so you're probably better than me because the weather's probably nicer than New York.
I am enjoying this weather.
How
We're
is the
having a
weather?
good
What is
time.
it? I was just going to
It's
ask.
about it's about 75 right about now. So
All
we're
right.
enjoying it. A nice cool breeze, but it's beautiful. The sun is shining and we've gone through the rainstorm, so it's a great day. I'm
Well,
enjoying it.
thank you. We're excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about HGLI and what it is that you do.
Yeah, so excited to be here this morning. So we are called Heights of Greatness Leadership Institute. It's an organization that focuses on leadership development and public speaking. We train leaders to really take their greatness to the next level of greatness. And so we focus on leadership development, public speaking. We do that through mastermind groups, through coaching, and through seminars and workshops. And so we find a thrill. We believe that everything rises and falls on leadership, as told to us by Dr. John C. Maxwell. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
leadership student. I'm always learning, always trying to develop my own skills. And so I just believe there's leadership in everybody. Often the question is, are leaders born or are they developed? And some will say they're developed and some will say both. I believe leaders are born. And why do I say leaders are born? Look, when I was in school, I was taught in biology that I came from 400 million sperm cells that was trying to reach the egg of my mother's womb. And apparently, from what biologists tell me, I was the one that made it. All the others that came after, they didn't make it. So I must be a leader. I came out
I
as a leader
love
and I did
it.
it through a hostile environment. And no matter what I'm going through right now, and no matter what other leaders going through right now, if they made it in their mother's womb through a hostile environment, they could make it in this world. And so
I love
I
that.
believe leaders are born.
This is great. I've never heard someone refer to it all that way, but you are right. You are a leader, and so am
Yeah,
I.
that's right. And
Hey,
so are you. Exactly.
yes, this is
Exactly.
fantastic. I love the way you broke that down for us. Tell us the website, by the way. How do we find you?
The website is hgli.org. It is hgli.org, but currently it's under construction right now. We're going through a new phase, so it'll be up probably in the probably second week in April. But if you want to reach me and find out what I'm doing, you can go to vjessesmithspeaks.com, vjessesmithspeaks.com. I am a transformational speaker. I'm a keynote speaker. I go to a number of businesses and organizations in the community and throughout, just inspiring and transforming people to reach their level of leadership.
Speaking of, I got to ask now, you're speaking, and I know you have some upcoming speaking events. Do you want to just touch upon that? And again, we'll bring it
I
up again
do.
later too, because people are tuning in all the time. So tell us a little bit
Absolutely.
about what's happening this month or next month.
Absolutely. So we just recently did a call where we invited people from all across the country to tune in on what we called Let's Talk Leadership. I believe everything again rises and falls on leadership. And so
Mm-hmm.
we had over 100 people call in talking about,
Wow.
what challenges they were going through in terms of leadership, whether it was on their job, whether it was in their personal life or their professional life. And we answered a number of questions about how they go about leading and some of the issues that they deal or that they're confronted with in leading. And one of the things we talked about was that every leader must go through a leader shift at some point, that you have to be able to adjust
Mm-hmm.
your leadership skills and your leadership style according to the times that we live. And things have to be done in a very quick pace because we're now in a rapid environment. And so we focused on leadership. Dr. John C. Maxwell talks about 11 essential shifts that a leader has to make in order to be productive and effective. We look at that because we study that. We study leadership. We study anybody who's doing leadership, but we've developed also a process that leaders have to go through in order to be able to make an adjustable shift that's effective, right? So a lot of us can do shifts, but if it's not effective, then you shouldn't be doing the shift. Sometimes it's probably better just to stay where you are as opposed to trying to engage in a shift that's not going to be effective. And so we have a leadership mastermind workshop coming up on April 23rd. It's a 4-week session. We're inviting people from across the country to be involved. You can come live if you live in Palmdale or
Wow.
anywhere in the Antelope Valley in Southern California, or you can join us by Zoom. You can go to eventbrite.com and look up making the leader shift, making the leader shift, and you can register that way. The investment for that is $150, and we believe you have to start investing in yourself. But during those 4 sessions, we're going to show you how to make a leader shift in your leadership so that you can have
Awesome.
effective results on your job, effective results in your personal life, and effective results dealing with just who you and what you're called to do. I'll talk later about this, but I believe that at some point we got to stop. We got to move from being what we do as a career and start moving into what we're doing as a calling. And so there's a big difference, and we'll be talking about that at the mastermind group. So please join. You will really enjoy it.
Beautiful. We are so excited. Thank you for this. And just a little bit
Mhm.
about your background. It's always important because we have new listeners telling us, tuning in. So could you tell us a little bit about what brought you here and how did you become a leader?
How did I become a leader? We often say that experience shapes your leadership until your leadership is developed to shape your experience. So a lot of us get into leadership positions just based on the experiences that we encounter, right? Martin Luther King became a leader based on the experience that he had to go through. And so many of you, wherever your position is right now, whatever role you have right now, you're probably there because there was an experience that you went through, and somehow or another you were called into that position, or somebody said, you're the best person to deal with the situation that we're going through right now because we're experiencing something. So it's your experience that generally shapes your leadership. What I learned in growing up is that it's really your leadership that really needs to shape your experience, because it's the leadership that you develop that create the kind of life that you want. We should never allow our experiences to create our lives. We should allow our leadership to create our lives. And so I learned leadership at a very young age. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, East New York. I'm definitely a New Yorker, and you might be able to tell that because I talk really fast. I'm trying to slow down, but I am a born and raised Brooklyn, New Yorker. But I live in Palmdale, California. I only came out to California because I was accepted to law school. And after I graduated from law school, I fell in love with the water, and I'm like, okay, I'm living here. So I started living on the West Coast. And then I went back to New York for a little bit and started organizing and working with some very popular leaders, Charles Barron, and a number of other people who were working in the community who really taught leadership and trained us on leadership, and decided that I think I want to move back to California and pretty much set up residency here. So I'm married, have 2 beautiful children. My daughter is in the Air Force. She's a
Wow,
first lieutenant in the Air
amazing.
Force. Yeah, she loves flying planes and
Oh,
helicopters. And my other daughter is at Cornell University studying law, and she's also a transformational speaker as well. And my wife is a public school educator. She teaches elementary school.
see,
So
all leaders in this family.
all
Beautiful.
leaders,
Thanks
all
for sharing.
leaders,
I
all
have a
leaders.
7 and 9-year-old, two little boys. So,
Awesome.
wow, wow, wow,
Awesome.
wow. Okay, and
Yeah.
when did you start, this company? Would you mind just giving me a little bit of background of how HDLI
Yeah.
was started?
Sure. We started HELI around 2009,
Okay.
and we saw the need for leadership development. What we saw was that people were in positions of leadership, and they were in their positions because they had a title, but they really didn't have leadership skills. And that's the most dangerous thing. You can be in a position where you're in a title, but you don't understand how to communicate with people and you don't add value to people. And so we thought it was necessary to say, let's develop leadership, let's develop leaders that can literally shape their own experience and have an experience where they actually add value to people. And that's what we focus on. One of the things that I teach every single day, and whatever I teach to businesses, to entrepreneurs, I make sure that I apply it to myself. So every day I wake up with an acronym called LEAD. LEAD. And
Hmm.
LEAD stands for, am I learning something today? What am I learning today? Am I learning something that I didn't know before? Am I learning to unlearn that which I've learned in order to relearn something else, right? You should always be, as a leader, learning something new. That's what makes you who you are. That's what distinguishes you from the crowds. It takes you from the bottom to the top. Can I say this to you this one, Joe? Being crowded, being at the bottom, there's too many people, okay? We need some people to rise to the top, to rise to the, so you
Hmm.
got to be able to distinguish yourself. And one of the ways of doing that as a leader is learning something new every day. I read at least 3 books every month to make sure that I know what's going on, and I'm current in the field that I love. What does the E stand for? I constantly have to be elevated with my emotions. Emotions are critical. If you get up in the morning and you just don't feel like doing anything and your emotions is not in check, I'm telling you, you will not be able to lead yourself or anybody else for that day. Look at Monday mornings. Every time somebody gets up on a Monday morning, sometimes they just want to get up and smack their supervisor because they just going through an emotional moment, right? As
Yeah.
a leader, you got to be able to check your emotions and make sure that your emotions remain elevated. So I make sure when I get up in the morning, I'm reading books, I'm listening to inspirational topics like Les Brown or John C. Maxwell or anybody
Yeah.
that will motivate me and elevate my spirits and my emotions so that I can give value to people. And that's what leaders do. We give value to people. You can't say you're a leader and not add value to people. If you're not adding value to people, then you're not a leader. Okay, I'm just be very, it doesn't matter what your title is, you got to be able to add value to people. What does the A stand for? Affirmation. I wrote a book that I wanted to share with you. It's called The Presence. And it's a book that focuses on affirmations. It's a book of affirmations and prayer. I'm a
Beautiful.
individual that's also a minister. But this book, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a book of affirmations. You can
Yeah.
get it on Amazon.com and at Barnes and Noble. It focuses on affirmations so that every day when I get up, I wrote this book because I wanted to just be inspired. Is it all right if I could just read one
I
with
would
every?
love for you
All
to.
right,
This is
awesome.
awesome. I'll
So
read
you
too.
could
I
turn
love
it.
it.
You could turn to any page in this book, and you will be inspired by it. I'm just turning to page 20. It's week 20.
Okay.
It's called Born to Serve Humanity, and this is the affirmation for today. Today, I share my gifts with others. I treat others as I want to be treated. The greatest gift I have is service to others. I serve my brothers and sisters in love. I serve my brothers and sisters in peace. I see the best in others and the best of humanity. I see others as God sees them, divine, healthy, and prosperous. For this cause I was born, to love humanity and to be a peacemaker and to walk humbly with my God. Right now, I share my divine presence with all of humanity. I declare it, I believe it, and I receive it, and so it is. That's the affirmation that I use every day. Not just that one, but there are a number of them in this book that inspires me, that reminds me that I have to affirm who I am and my connection to the creator, right? It doesn't matter what religion I'm affiliated with. Look, don't get caught up in the religion, get caught up in the content. Even a drunkard man is not concerned with the label that's on the bottle. He's more concerned with the content that's in the bottle. So we should not be caught up or divided as leaders with what religion you're part of, what organization. Get caught up in the content and the substance and the value, and that's how you become an effective leader. And then what does the D stand for? Development. You have to always be developing yourself. And I asked the question, how am I developing myself personally? How am I developing myself professionally? I have to develop my own leadership skills. And what I learned the other day, I was talking to a union delegate who happened to be a leader in one of the educational institutions, and I was inviting them to a mastermind group, and the response was, "Well, I'm not really a leader." And that just
Ah,
disturbed my spirit. I'm like,
you're
you
like,
are
no,
a
no,
leader.
you are.
You're in a
Yes.
position where you add value
Oh
to
my
people.
gosh. Yep.
So that's why I'm so passionate about leadership. And I'm passionate about people who are caught up in the careers, but they're not caught up in their calling. You got to get caught up in your calling because a career will come and go, but your calling will last forever. That's your passion. Jill, I see what you do today. That it's like a passion. It's like a calling for you. You have such ease and such finesse the way in which you do what you do. Nobody else can do it better than you, Jill, because you were lead, you're a leader. You were called to do that, and it shows. And when people see that, my favorite book says that your gifts will take you before kings and queens, and that's exactly what your gift is doing. And so keep doing it.
Ah, I
Keep doing
love
it.
it. Thank you. Same to you. My
Yeah.
goodness, you are so inspiring. At this time, you got to just remind us how we could reach out to you. Please share the contact information, the current website, your phone number, social media pages, and where can we get the book?
Yes. So to reach out to me. You can go to my website, vjessesmithspeaks.com. If you're looking for a keynote speaker or a workshop speaker, I'm there. I will transform your audience. Trust me, they will love you for bringing me for bringing me to come talk to you. So trust me, you don't want to miss out on this. So go to vjessesmithspeaks.com. You can reach me also on my email, vjessesmith@gmail.com. And if you want to connect us with Heights of Greatness Leadership Institute, you can go to HGLI Lead Now, HGLI
Wow.
Lead Now at gmail.com. And call me directly, 661-992-9052. I'm excited Listen, you can get this book, Barnes and Nobles. Go to barnesandnobles.com. It's called The Presence, Daily Affirmations and Prayer. And if you just need some upliftment as a leader and you want to be transformed, I wrote another book called, I don't know if you can see that, Back Where
Yeah.
You Belong, on Top of the World. We have been underneath the world too long. It's time to get back where I believe God desires us to be. And so we talk about your innate gifts, because for me, you got to define leadership for yourself. How do you define leadership? For me, leadership is identifying the ability to identify your innate gift within yourself and then use that gift to
Wow.
advance, serve, and to cater to humanity. That's your gift.
Beautiful. Now, who's your mentor? Who inspired you? I know innately it happened at birth, right? You became a leader, but who do you commend and acknowledge for pushing you, or who did you look up to,
For me,
help guide you this way? Yeah.
it was certainly Martin Luther King Jr. I just
Oh.
love Dr. King. I love his leadership. I love his speaking ability. I was just mesmerized and arrested the first time I heard him, which probably was about 9, 10 years old. I was at camp and I heard him speak about how he had been to the mountaintop. That was just so electrifying for me. But unfortunately, Dr. King is not here for me to look at and to connect with. So I believe, you got to connect with somebody who's doing what you're doing right now and get advice from them, right? You can never see the big picture while you're in the frame. So you have to go and speak to somebody who's doing what you're doing and they can complement what you're doing. So I reached out to Dr. John C. Maxwell, the #1 leadership guru in the country. This man has over 40 books out. He's almost in every country that you could think of, and he focuses on leadership. So I wanted to get to the best. Look, I wanted to be among the stars. And he was one of the stars, and so I came under his tutelage, and so I'm part of the John Maxwell leadership team. And so that focuses on strategies of leadership, coaching, mastermind. And so that's what inspired me to write the various books that I have. Another mentor of mine is Les Brown, motivational speaker Les Brown, who can electrify an audience as soon as you
Mm-hmm.
give him a microphone. He's somebody that I admire. So there are a number of people that I connect with, because I know, look, one number is one is too small of a number to be significant. So you need to have and connect with other people who are doing exactly what you're doing. So those are some of the people who I consider my mentors.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks so much. We only have a few minutes left in the show here today. I know we got off to a late start, unfortunately, but
Sure.
in our last 3 minutes together, what else do you want to make sure we get across to our listeners?
I want to make sure that you find somebody who's doing what you're doing. Okay. Don't get caught up in your career, get caught up in your calling. There are too many people who are working right now and they've been working at their job for 30 years and they hate it. Right. You weren't born in this world to hate what you're doing. You're born in this world to live out what you're doing. So I'm encouraging you to find your calling, find your passion. I want to encourage you to join the mastermind that we're doing on April 23rd. Reach out to me, vjessesmithspeaks.com. You can register right on that website. If you want to move yourself and make a shift in your life and you're tired of being stuck where you are, this is the time to do it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. You can get up and do it for yourself. And so I learned that from a beautiful mentor of mine, he's not a doctor, but Charles Barron, who's a city councilman in New York. I just love his leadership skills. He taught me a lot when I was in Brooklyn, New York, about leadership. And he said, at some point, you got to get out your comfort zone into your empowerment zone and do what God has called you to do. And so that's what I want to encourage people to do. Get out your comfort zone into your empowerment zone, and I'll be happy to help you make that happen.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing this. And one more time, how can we connect with you? Please share.
Again, connect with me at vjessesmithspeaks.com, vjessesmithspeaks.com. That's VJESSE Smith, SMITH speaks.com. And again, my email is vjessesmith@gmail.com. And you can reach me directly at 661-992-9052. Let me come out and speak for you. Let me come out and just inspire you and transform you. Trust me, you will never, never be the same. I guarantee it. I
Oh my
guarantee it.
goodness. Thank you
Thank you,
so
Jill.
much. Pleasure having you here. And till we connect again, thank you for the inspiration. Pick up the books. And again, where's the event coming up? Tell us one more time.
The event again is April 23rd at 6 p.m. You can reach out to me at that email account, April 23rd, and four Tuesdays from that date. It's 4 sessions. It's called Making the Leader Shift in Your Leadership. And trust me, you will be inspired.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure
Thank you,
having you
Jill.
here. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Until next time. Thanks again. We'll talk soon. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Enjoy
Thank you.
your day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
You
everybody.
too.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.